Welcome back to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I welcome back two very special guests from the Loyola women's lacrosse team, Riley and Logan Olmstead. After missing last season due to an injury, Riley had an incredible season, starting in all 21 games, getting 38 ground balls and 24 caused turnovers. Logan also had an unreal season, as she started in all 21 games as well, and she had 19 ground balls and 16 caused turnovers, which were both a career high for her. Most importantly, both Riley and Logan helped Loyola to another Patriot League Championship and to another NCAA Tournament appearance, where they made it to the second round against UPenn. Before college, both players helped their high school to three Section 4 Class A championships. The people loved their episode last time we had them on, and I'm excited to have them back on again. So welcome back to the Draw Control podcast, Logan and Riley, and how is everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's good to be back.
we're so excited to do it again. You're awesome. And yeah, we're just enjoying the post-career lifestyle, I guess.
Is it crazy to have all this free time? Because I feel like a lot of student athletes tell me, like, after they're done, like, the free time they get is sort of the biggest adjustment they have to post-grad life.
Yeah, you're so like programmed, especially in the summer, once you get that workout packet, like everything revolves around like, what time am I going to the gym? What time am I going to do my run? And now we wake up and we're like, so what do we do?
Yeah, what do we do
today? It was great like the first couple weeks, and then I think we both like hate sitting still, and we're like, okay, like what do we do? Like we need to be doing something.
Yeah. Well, how has your summer been going for both of you guys so far?
Yeah, we're playing a lot of pickleball.
Yes.
But other than that, just hanging out with family. Before we all meaning us three siblings go, our separate ways to start this next chapter. So just kind of hanging out with one another and getting ready to go into the real world.
Yeah. I definitely know your parents probably try to enjoy that free time before everyone separates. That's got to be super sad in a way.
Yeah, it's gonna be our first time. Being separated.
And even
whole
with
lives,
Aiden,
so,
I mean, the three of us went to Loyola, and even though we were crazy busy with lacrosse and obviously classes, like we still made the time to hang out every week. So now that we're leaving Baltimore after 5+ years, we're like, oh my gosh, like when are we gonna meet up? And it's gonna be crazy, but we'll make it work.
Yeah.
My brother's moving to New York City, so I'm so excited to visit. I feel like that's gonna be crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be a lot of fun. I love New York, so definitely try to take advantage of the free hotel room that you guys have.
Definitely.
He's paying for my train to get down there too.
Now, what are your plans, I guess, for the future lacrosse wise? Do you both plan on being involved with lacrosse, or you sort of moved on to another phase of your guys' life?
Yeah, well, first things first, we'll always be involved with Loyola lacrosse. So going to all the games, being the front row cheering. Definitely want to obviously stay with the sport. It's given me so much. So I always had this, mindset of I want to give back to lacrosse as well. So whether that's coaching, younger girls or, always going back to the alumni games to, help the team whatever way I can, just always, giving back to the sport that's given me so much. So
and I'm going to the University of Michigan for my master's of social work, and I think lacrosse is still growing in the Midwest, and I think whether it's like a youth league out there or any type of program that I could help, I think like Riley said, it's so important to give back and then to grow the game. I think it'd be so fun to stay involved that way. And just like spread the excitement. I love working with kids, and I think it's always so fun to like see their excitement peak at a young age for lacrosse, as did with me. So I would love to like look for programs out there to get involved with.
Yeah, and Michigan had a really good season last year in women's lacrosse, so it's gonna be fun. Hopefully, you can get the chance to go out to some of those games as well.
I would love to watch it, and it's really cool. The assistant for that for their team, Anna Henberry, is a Loyola lacrosse alum, so it was awesome to see that, and definitely have to connect with her at some point just to meet and talk. And I mean, even if they have us need for a volunteer on that team, I'll have to reach out and ask, because I would love to stay involved. And I would always say to Jen, when I was going through this process of finding a school for my master's, I'm like, I am not below or above shagging balls and filming. Like I will do it. I just want to stay involved. I I want to put in the work. And, lacrosse is, the best thing to happen to us. So I want to give back, like Riley said, and it will always have a spot in my schedule. That's for sure.
Now, last time we talked, we discussed sort of the type of leadership you guys wanted to bring to the team. Looking back on this season, how would you evaluate your leadership skills? And did you guys think you did a good job helping the freshmen and sophomores out?
Yeah, I mean, I think regarding freshmen and sophomores, we've had such a great experience when we were freshmen and sophomores with leadership, and knowing what that should look like coming from our experience as freshmen and sophomores. So it's pretty easy to integrate that into our own leadership styles when, helping those girls out. And I will say, like, I adore them.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing about Loyola and our program is, a lot of those girls will be in my life forever, even though we were 5 years older than them. And they like couldn't believe we were 23, and they're like, not some of them weren't even 18 yet, and they were like, wait, what? But that's just our program. Like you become best friends with girls you're 5 to 4 years older than and I think even just looking back with my leadership with the whole team, I think I grew a lot as a leader, and I learned a lot, especially through adversity and obviously through success. But I'm pretty proud of the way I grew, and just like my communication style, and learning to be assertive yet empowering, and finding the balance between that, I think was a big growth period for me. And I know I have become a better leader outside of it as well.
And she won't say it, but she was just an incredible captain, and I was just so proud of her. All of our captains, really, but seeing my sister as a captain I was so in awe of her, and I learned a lot from her. But I think for me, I just really wanted to bring kind of a sense of gratitude, and just bring kind of the fun back whenever we were going through trials, or in a tough situation, even in like good times too. I just wanted to remind everyone that, like, how grateful it is to have this opportunity, just going through an injury. And I kind of just made that my leadership focus. Like, no matter what happened, I just wanted everyone, to our best like ability, to enjoy the moment and just really be grateful for the opportunities we have. So I think I did a great job.
Yeah, you definitely did.
But that's just something also that I'll take to any aspect of my life. And it's easy to be leaders on a team where you're just inspired by everyone and love everyone. So
Now, you came back from a significant injury from the previous season. So I just want to ask you, what were some of the challenges you faced once you finally started facing game action, and talk about the progression of getting used to the speed and physicality of the game after missing the whole season?
yeah, I definitely, first and foremost, like, my coaches were amazing in helping that, our PT, our strength coach. And also I had some other teammates of mine that we were all injured at the same time. So having them as a support system was incredible. I definitely think fall was probably the hardest adjustment, just getting thrown back into it and wanting, to be a starting defender and all of that stuff. But, I think it was something I just really wanted to do. And I just had this goal that I wanted to come back and first I wanted to come back and just play again and to be a great teammate. So I think, having everyone around me supporting me really made it easy, or made it doable for me to come back. It was definitely tough, like, getting my footing back and, playing at that speed. But like, another great thing about Loyola is you're going up against the best attackers in the country, the best midfielders in the country. So, I was getting a lot of reps and a lot of challenges in practice. So that only really prepared me for games. And then just remembering, like, I'm here for a reason, and I've done it before since sophomore year. So just reminding myself of that, and then just being able to play with my teammates, I was grateful. And I think that gratuity, like, really just helped propel me into getting back on the field and playing again.
Now, Logan, you had a great 2023 season, and to no one's surprise, you had an even better 2024 season. So from your perspective, what was like the biggest improvement you made to your game this past season?
Yeah, I think in talking with our coaches, a big part of my success was watching film from a variety of perspectives. I think up until this year, I was kind of mostly, like, when I'm watching film, I was watching, what I was doing well, what I could work on. And I feel like a lot of my success was being a facilitator of the defense, and that came from watching film from every position of the 7 defenders, even talking with Lauren Spencer, our goalie, and Amber on what they were seeing and how I could help facilitate like great communication, making sure everyone was on the same page. So I think thinking outside of myself and seeing defense in the game from beyond just my perspective and my spot of one of the 7 defenders really helped me see, you know, the defense in the game from, you know, more of a macro perspective instead of a micro one.
Now let's get into the regular season, talk about some of the big games you guys played this year. So I'll ask you individually about certain games. So Riley, I'll start off with you. Let's start off with the first game of the year where you guys upset Florida. How important was it for your team to start the season off with a win against a top team in the country? And that win really benefited yourself because obviously Florida had a really good year. So it just kept, I don't know what the RPI or whatever it's called, the math that helps determine the tournament. That just kept getting better and better as the season went on because of that big win. So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we set a lot of goals for ourselves this year as a team. And coming out strong was one of them. And I think we all, you all like for Loyola, and something we always say is we know what we have inside our own locker room. And I think that really we believed in ourselves and had, just that mindset of this is our first game. Let's go out there and play together, worry about ourselves and just take care of it. And that's what we did. And I think it was a great challenge, and it really set us up for, what we wanted to achieve the rest of the year. And yeah, it was so exciting first game back. And for all of us, like, it was just such an incredible feeling. And we really set ourselves up for a great year with that first win.
Now, Logan, you guys then got another big victory beating John Hopkins on the road. How important are those road games for your team? And just talk about how well your attacking players played in that game, getting 17 goals against a great goalie in Madison Doucette.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of our biggest rivalries. We call it the Battle of Charles Street. And since freshman year, that's always been one of my favorite games
for sure
to play. And I know that's probably the same sentiment for a lot of the girls. But I think also just going into, we know we have in our locker room, let's go out and prove it to people. Not necessarily that we have to prove it, because it's something, again, that we know amongst ourselves. But I think that game always just brings like the best energy within our group. And, we want to be the victors of Battle of Charles Street every year. So we are never short of, bringing our best and battling through every adversity. I think the attack, I mean, going into every game, but I know going into that game, they put in a lot of effort, pre-practice, post-practice reps with shooting, because we all know Madison is a great goalie. So they wanted to make sure that when they hit the field at Hopkins that they were prepared. So I know they were always ready to put in the extra reps to prepare themselves. So I think that grind and that grit really set them up very well. Yeah.
Now, Riley, in the last regular season game, or one of the last regular season games of the year, I want to talk to you guys about this one because there's a win against Holy Cross. I feel like it's one that a lot of fans wouldn't sort of, I guess, notice when they look at your results from this past year. But I just felt like that was such a team win from you guys. I wonder if you sort of felt the same way, and just talk about those Patriot League games because they're physically tough games, and I feel like it prepares your team well for the NCAA tournament. Yet I feel like sometimes lacrosse pundits don't give you guys enough credit for those conference wins.
Yeah, definitely. I think, over the course of our 5 years, the Patriot League's only gotten better and more competitive. And that's just, as any athlete, as any competitor, that's what you crave and itch for. So those games really, truly mean a lot to us. And, any opportunity to play is an opportunity to put your best foot forward. And I think Holy Cross had an unbelievable year this year. And it was just such a great opportunity to play against another great team. And, I think that game, defense really clicked together, offense clicked together, but you just saw, we also had like a lot of fun together. And I think when you're, you're at a high caliber level, it can get, the fun of playing can get away from you. And I think that game, we really all just had a great time playing together. And our team, like, we're so funny and just weird, and like just the opportunity to have an away trip, like we just had so much fun flying and being together. And I was really proud of that game that we just everything clicked, and we also had a lot of fun. So I think that was really important for our team. And any Patriot League game, you know, we take that same energy of whether you're playing, like whoever you're playing, you know, really just for Loyola across your chest. So I think we did a great job with that this year.
Now, this is a question for both of you guys. So obviously your team won another Patriot League Championship. What did this one mean to you though as fifth years, and what emotions were you going through after Georgia scored that OT winner?
Oh boy, I still like my breath
catches
catches every time we talk about
and even I know amongst the fifth years, but even the seniors to get that, I mean, that group, it's 14 how many of 14 of us. We
14,
went
15.
4 for 4. Like, we've never lost a Patriot League game. We've never lost, you know, a championship. And I think it was definitely the most competitive one that the 14 of us have faced. And I mean, there was no doubt in any of our minds that we weren't going to win that game, because when push comes to shove, and it definitely did in that game, especially with Georgia, like, she is a gamer. She will make the play. She will make sure that everyone around her, you know, feels her success and feels that energy from her. So I think obviously there was no doubt in our minds. And yes, it was definitely a nail biter.
Yeah.
That was the first overtime we've ever played in any of those.
Any of us have
played
and
I think, I forget exactly, but that was one of the first Jen has
yeah
ever played in too. So, well, coach. So it was very intense, but I mean, that's definitely one we won't forget.
I won't ever forget that game.
Yeah. I feel like as defenders, sometimes you're hoping not to be on a highlight, like intro or whatever, especially because in hockey, I was at a hockey game a few months ago and they were showing like the highlights of the historical things that have happened. And one was an overtime loss that my favorite team had. And I'm like, I feel bad for the goalie. Like every time he comes to one of these games, they keep showing that. So, and that's always like, that's like his biggest memory. So I've always like, I feel like as a defender, it's like, oh, I can't be like ingrained in like this big highlight for this team every time I go back.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that sometimes.
We'll take the amazing stops Spence has, and maybe I'll be like in the corner of the frame, and then I'll like repost or something.
Exactly. Now, Logan, this question's for you. So in the tournament this season, you guys played a really good Duke team that I felt like should have been in the tournament. I know some other people disagreed with me on that one, but I thought they're really good. So just talk about that tournament victory and what makes Duke a good team from your perspective as a defender.
Yeah, I mean, being in the ACC, they're playing up against some of the best teams in college lacrosse, and Duke is definitely among the those teams. So I think just getting a different team from a big time conference was such a great challenge, and it set us up so great to put on a great defensive, you know, showing, great midi showing, goalie and attack. And I think anytime you get to play again in an ACC team, you're going up against some of the best girls in college lacrosse. So it was exciting. It was a challenge to prep for, but I think we really did execute. And, you know, it was a great game. That was a lot of fun, especially because I've never played against an ACC team. So that was something cool to experience as well.
Now, this question is for the both of you guys. Obviously, your season came to a close with a loss against UPenn. What was your final tournament, I guess, game like, and how have you reflected on that loss almost a month later?
Yeah, I think it was a battle, and Penn was a great team. But I just like look at my teammates, and you know, something like our coaches always say is like, years from now, you're not going to remember, you know, the stats of a game, but you're going to remember your teammates and the times you had with them. So I truly just, it was more than just, you know, losing a game or, you know, lacrosse being over. It was like, okay, I'm gonna leave soon and not have these girls and our coaches by my side every day. But you know, reflecting now a couple months later, like they're always gonna be with me. We're always gonna be with each other, you know, checking in on each other. And that's why Loyola is just so special. Like you truly have another family, and it's definitely going to be hard, you know, not playing, but knowing like I can't wait to go in the stands and go crazy. Like past alum came to our games and we're going crazy cheering for us. So just knowing I'll be able to have that for the girls next year is great. I'm just, you know, it's really hurts to lose and you want to go as far as you can. You want to win it all, but I'm just so grateful for Loyola and this team and what, you know, lacrosse has done for me. So
yeah. And I was trying to keep the perspective, like at the end of the day, there's only one team that's not going to be disappointed lacrosse wise. So again, kind of what Riley was saying, when I reflect on that game, I have had little thoughts about, the lacrosse and the game itself. It's been more, just so much gratitude for that experience and to be with that team, and our coaching staff. And, when we looked up in the stands, like Riley said, there were so many alum, all of our families were there. And that's the memory I have, of that game. Obviously, in the wake of it, like when it was first happening, it was super, disappointing, and you want to win that game and you want to make it as far, just like Riley said. But I think, again, it's the girls and the team and it's our families that, resonate most about that game. And I just will never forget, like, going up to our stands and seeing all of our alums, and even though it was a loss, just seeing and feeling how proud they were of us. That's what then we brought into the locker room when we were packing up and getting ready to leave. It's just so much pride for playing and having Loyola across your chest, having those girls around you, having, your family in the stands. So yeah, I mean, that will always stay with me. That's, what I remember most.
Now, you guys sort of talk about how much your teammates mean to you. So I did want to ask you a couple questions about some of your teammates. I'll start off with you, Riley. One of your teammates, Sydney Black, was just drafted in the Pro Women's Lacrosse League. I just want to ask you what she is like as a teammate and what your thoughts were on the viral video of when she told a defender, "You can't guard me," as from your perspective as a defender.
Well,
you
really
can't.
Can't guard her. Yeah, I mean, she's just an insane player, and I've definitely had, those moments in practice where I'm like, I can't guard her, but she makes everyone around her better. But, when I look at her as a player, I truly just look at her as a leader and what she's done, for our program, but also for lacrosse. And she's probably the most electric player to watch right now. And, I can't wait to watch her in the pros, and she is going to be incredible and, bring a lot of people to watch her at those games. And I think that, like, she's going to score so many goals and make so many great plays, but the people that she's going to bring and the people that are excited to watch her it's growing the sport. And, she's definitely doing that, and I'm so proud of her. But when I look at her, I truly think of her, I'll always yes, she's an amazing lacrosse player, but I'll just always remember her as the amazing friend and leader that she is. And, lacrosse will be done for us all one day, but the person she is and the leader she is, she's going to have that with her for the rest of her life. So I can't wait to, cheer her on. And I know that we will be friends for, the rest of our lives. And I'm just so proud of her. She's grown in so many ways. And yeah, I can't wait to watch her kill it. I'll probably be, chirping all of her defenders. I will be chirping all of her defenders. Then at the same time, I'll be like, I know how you feel. So I'm excited for her to be incredible. Truly a great leader, great person, great friend. So I'm so proud of her.
Now, Logan, Chase Boyle was another player on your team that really stood out to me. What is she like as a teammate, and what makes her a great attacker from your perspective?
Yeah, I just think she is always ready to put in so much extra effort, and it's so behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think that's something not a lot of people, obviously, since it's behind the scenes, not a lot of people notice. But I wish they could, because she is just a grinder. She will make all the plays. I feel like, never gets exhausted. I'm sure she could disagree with that, but she could literally play for days and it's at 100%. And, seeing her success was so honestly humbling. So I just felt so honored to be a part of that and to watch her grow. She grew a lot as a leader, I think, emotionally, physically, so well-rounded as a leader and a player. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, and something that I will never forget about this last season with her. But to be at the Tewaaraton ceremony for her, and to just see a culmination of her work, her body of work this year, was, again, so humbling. And I'm so extremely proud of her. I'm like, the fact that this was her junior year, and she has a whole nother year. I know she will only break, that ceiling that she's put there for herself. And she's also never okay with being stagnant. She only wants to get better. And I think that's something I've appreciated from her. And I know that will be the example she sets for the team next year. She's always saying, you know, who's going to come out with me before practice, who's going to stay after. And I think having her as a captain and a leader next year again will, you know, only make the team stronger. And I'm just so proud of her. She has absolutely earned every accolade this year, every recognition. And I know it's only going to get better for her from here.
And one last thing about the two of them too, like something our coaches have always instilled in us. So like any individual accolade is a team accolade, and those two like embody that so fully. And if you were to ask them, like the first thing they would say is like, I couldn't do it without my teammates. And I just think again that goes to the people they are, the leaders they are, and we're just so proud of both of them.
Now, what are you both going to take away from your Loyola lacrosse career? I know you sort of touched on it in a lot of questions, but I'm just curious, how do you think it's going to help you as an adult when you're in the working world?
Yeah, I think like to appreciate and embrace the grind. I think there were a lot of times this season, we talked about legacy, and there were so many women before us that came through the Loyola that set the path of academic and athletic excellence. And I think striving for that, never being afraid to embrace it, because it's obviously going to come with challenges. It's obviously going to be hard. So I think embracing the difficulties and embracing, you know, challenges, because it's only going to push you forward. Yes, embrace the fun times, embrace the excitement, and embrace like the silliness and not taking yourself too seriously. I've learned that so much from my teammates, because I think before Loyola I took myself way too seriously. And I think having both sides of that makes you well-rounded and makes you prepared for everything. And I think especially in the real world.
I think too, like just be the hardest worker, and you know, you're not always going to get all the praise, all the glory, but you'll get it from the people that matter. And finding those people that matter is truly important. They're only going to, you know, help you succeed. So just working hard and having fun, and, you know, being grateful for the moment. I can't even like, there's just so many lessons Loyola taught us that it's like hard to even put them all into like a little bow right now. But I think the great thing is we'll continue to find lessons, you know, throughout our lives. So
and they'll always bring us back to Loyola.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now let's move on to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I hopefully get to know you guys a little bit more off the field. Now, this one's a little bit different than last time, where I've just found random questions on the internet that I thought were interesting. So hopefully you guys think they're interesting as well, and I'll give my perspective on them as well.
Awesome.
So first one is, what's the best concert you've ever been to?
We haven't really been to a lot of concerts.
That's something I need to
it's something we're going to do more. We went to Morgan Wallen concert
really
in Saratoga with one of our best friends, Riley Hogan. So that was probably one of
that was so fun.
The best nights of our life.
It was a lot of fun. I would say that too.
That's a good, that I wanted to go, but I wasn't able to go, but it does look like a lot of fun. I'd say for me, probably like either the Jonas Brothers or Billy Joel. I know that's sort of two different type of concerts.
Two different ends, but
so fun.
But Billy Joel was really cool, so I'll go with those two.
Yeah.
Now this one's a pretty deep question, but what is one regret you have in life?
This is like we just talked about, like lessons at Loyola. A lot of, you know, the girls have taught me not to take myself too seriously. So I think, you know, I kind of regret not learning that sooner, I would say, like in high school or, you know, my like beginning years of college. But at the same time, I try not to live with like too many regrets. And I think that's another thing Loyola's taught me is, you know, everything happens for a reason. So I guess, not taking myself too seriously.
Yeah, I funny enough, I know we're twins, but I kind of have the same answer. Yeah, and I think even before Loyola, our parents have always, you know, tried to instill with us like to not live with regret. And you know, you're gonna make mistakes,
right?
But those mistakes only help you learn. And Jen has taught us that same lesson. So I try to not look at things I haven't done as regret or to be regretful. I think the same thing. I definitely wish I appreciated and took into account not taking myself too seriously before, you know, I would say like my junior, senior, and fifth year. But I mean, that's part of the journey.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, probably just like maybe for me trying to work a little bit harder in certain classes in high school. to give myself better opportunities. I feel like there were times where I just wanted to do the bare minimum just to get it over with. And I feel like if I worked a little bit harder, maybe better things would have came out of that. But, it all worked out in the end. So I'm not going to try to think too much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what is the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Oh man. I don't know. Our team, like we just started, well, not just started, but like the past couple of years we've been reading a lot, like on bus trips and stuff. So I read a lot of books, but I don't know if any of one's standing out in particular. We love reading on our team.
Yeah.
I could not read on a bus. That would make me car sick.
I know that's what we all thought, but then we found like great books and we just pass it around and start talking to each other about it. So we're kind of weird like that.
Yeah. Our coaches, and Teddy Burns, our senior administrator at Loyola, we started like a little library, and it's like it started as like an empty locker. We just filled it in our locker room, and then Teddy made like a little bookshelf up in the coach's office. So that was fun to like go up and bring books and talk to some other coaches, and it's been fun. I know I love to read, so I think definitely.
Yeah, I feel like that didn't quite answer the question, but
no, that's pretty interesting to me. So.
Like summer reading.
Yeah, summer reading, like mine kind of like mindless reading.
Before I have to like go back to school.
I'd say for me, probably just the Stanley Cup final a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun watching that game. And then this might make me sound a little bit weird, but I'm sort of a newer lacrosse fan, and I was looking for lacrosse documentaries, and I found one about the Duke lacrosse team and just that whole situation from like 20 years ago. And I never knew about it at all. And I thought that was really interesting to learn about. So that would go with that one as well.
Definitely. Yeah. And even just keeping up with, Sixes training and U20 and seeing Sid and Chase repping, the US was just so cool. And again, such a testament to them. So watching that, like,
I literally the Instagram clips.
I know. I was like clicking through all the stories. I'm like, okay,
where are they?
That's awesome.
That's always so fun.
Now, who has the nicest jerseys in all of college lacrosse?
I mean, our black.
I loved our black
uniforms.
I love them.
With the ain't no dog on the back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so funny. Like you asked that, we probably should have an answer, but I feel like in the moment you're like, you're not paying attention to their jersey.
Yeah, maybe it's a fan thing more than a player thing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Duke's jerseys were cool playing them. I don't know.
I've always liked Denver's, how they have the mountains.
Oh yeah, Denver's are cool.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. I'm trying. I feel like maybe I'll know some more now.
Yeah, now that we're watching.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So come back to us in a year after we watch games on the sideline, and we'll give you a better answer.
Emma Pinto. She's a great friend to our team.
Yeah.
I loved BC's pink jerseys.
Yeah,
pink's my favorite color, so that was cool.
Yeah, we'll report back after being in the stands.
I would say for me, I know this might be something I shouldn't say with two Loyola lacrosse players on, but I think John Hopkins has really good jerseys. I'm a big fan of the blue, especially the black blue sort of alternate one. I feel like that looks really cool. But I do like your black.
I was gonna say you better add that in there.
Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I honestly might change the question a little. If I were to pick just anyone, I would probably pick our grandpa. We just lost him recently. And it's just put in a new perspective of, appreciating time when you have it. But yeah, he was a big lacrosse fan, loved Loyola, loved all of his grandkids' schools. So yeah, I would definitely say
get some more time
with him.
Yeah.
Talk about whatever.
Yeah.
He literally loved everything. So yeah, that would probably be our answer.
Well, my answer definitely won't be as good as yours. Probably Tom Brady. I just think it would be cool to talk to him about some of the success he's had and how he's sort of been like the biggest underdog in sports and all that stuff.
Yeah. Did you watch the roast of Tom Brady?
Oh, I did watch the roast. I don't know if I can comment too much about it on the podcast, but it was
we'll
very
talk about it later.
So no, it was a lot of fun. If you could attend any sporting event in the world, which one would you pick?
I would love to see a soccer football game in Europe.
Yeah.
I think that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know the atmosphere would be electrifying.
Yeah.
And I've always loved soccer. And
Yeah.
one of our roommates, Paige Sim, was the goalie for Loyola, and we just watched what was the documentary? It was on the US national team from the World Cup this past or something.
Yeah, this
whatever
past
it was. And I just feel like it'd be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, I mean, obviously we're being twins again, I would say soccer too, because we were really close to the soccer team and two of our best friends were on the soccer team. Allie and Paige lived with us, but if not that, beach volleyball in the Olympics or gymnastics in the Olympics.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those would be sick.
I'm
just in awe of them.
Yeah, I was watching the college beach volleyball championships on ESPN like last week. Like that's gonna be the funnest sport ever. You get to
it's insane.
Basically just play beach, be on the beach all day for your sport, and then your championships during the summer. So it's basically like you don't have to worry about schoolwork or anything.
Yeah.
But all the schools were like USC, Cal Poly, St.
I know.
It's like all from the West Coast.
I know.
So.
Yeah.
If I in another life had a few inches to my height, I feel like I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me is the Stanley Cup. After watching that game, and I was like, I would love to go to one Stanley Cup final game because I'm sorry to all the other sports, but that celebration when the commissioner hands the cup to the captain is like the coolest celebration in all of sports.
So cool.
We were just
watching it. Yeah,
we watched it. We're a big hockey family too. And like the Florida Panthers, I think they like stayed up the entire night. They went to the beach, brought the Stanley Cup. And I'm like, they're living their best life into the ocean. I'm like, that's probably,
and it's like one of the toughest championships to win. You play 16 games in a row, so like it's insane.
I would love to drink chocolate milk out of the Stanley Cup. Like there's this particular chocolate milk brand that I would pour into it. I would get a straw and then I would drink out of it. That's one of my dreams. I would love to do that with the cup. But yeah, it just looks like such a fun celebration. And he said that like his family won't sleep for the next 3 days after they won. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. So he probably hasn't even slept since that championship happened.
Yeah. Right.
Now, this is a good, interesting question, but if you could play with any lacrosse player in the world that you've never played with, who would you pick?
Okay. It came like right away. She's probably gonna hate us for saying I would play with Jen Adams because
oh my god,
I've never played a lacrosse game with her. She'll probably like laugh that we said that. We've played with Dana because she has played in practice before, but Jen Adams for sure.
Yeah. Obviously Hager too.
Yeah, Hager,
our other assistant. I think it would be so fun to play with them.
Yeah.
Even to like play with Dana again. Our coaches.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
Like as insane, amazing coaches they are, they're obviously some of the best lacrosse players to ever play as well, all three of them. So I'd strap up the cleats and play with them.
Yeah, definitely them.
That's good answers. I would say for me, from the men's side, Aiden Olmstead, he would be really cool to play with.
That's the best thing you've ever heard, you've ever said.
So I'll go. I will. I feel like he would be a cool player to play with. And then obviously the women's side,
and you can get those goals.
Yeah.
I would say for the women's side, Logan and Riley Olmstead. They're two really good players.
We gotta make it happen.
Yeah, come on.
I've never played lacrosse, fun fact. So I gotta work on some of my wall ball skills before. I think I don't want to embarrass myself too much in a rec league or something like that.
It sounds like we're gonna have to create like the Olmstead training camp or something. The Olmstead
something like that
experience, and you'll be our first client, and then you can put the word out.
Well, if I do a good job, then like you can just prove that you're great coaches if you make someone like me look pretty decent out there. I just don't know like what position I would play and stuff like that.
Well, you have attack from Aiden and defense from us, so you'll find.
Okay, maybe midfield. So
a combination of both.
Yeah. Now, what is one show you can binge watch all day?
Binge. Okay, this is a throwback. Yeah, but this is probably our third time watching it. One Tree Hill. Oh, so good. Have you ever seen it?
I've never seen it before.
Oh man.
I don't really watch a lot of TV.
So for your break from training for the day, you get to watch an episode of One Tree Hill, and then you get back out there. One Tree Hill, Gossip Girl,
Yeah.
of course.
Also, like, so different from those shows. 24. It was like so back in the day. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was one of our parents' favorite shows. It was like 2001. And then I think like a couple, like 7 years ago, we finally watched it with them. It's like kind of intense.
It's really intense.
But we're rewatching that again with our parents. And it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be more your speed rather than Gossip Girl and One Tree Hill.
Gossip Girl's not that bad. I will.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I feel like a lot of guys probably won't admit it, but like I saw the first episode, and the song at the end is really good. It's by one of my favorite artists. So
the soundtrack, I think that's like, I don't know what you call it. The soundtrack to the show, that series.
Unreal.
Yeah. What's the one? I don't know. Was it from Gossip Girl when they did the Jason Derulo song? Like, what you say?
Yeah, the Thanksgiving episode. Yeah.
That's a funny one too. So
Iconic.
Yeah. I'd say for me, like I don't really watch too much TV, so like outside of like just like sports games. So I'd say like House Hunters. That's a fun show I like to watch. There's another one on HGTV called My Lottery Dream Home, where these people like win the lottery and then they get to like buy like this cool house somewhere nice. So I always like watching that. And then I guess like a normal TV show, probably Parks and Recreation, because that's like a good like TV show in the background that I can sort of like turn off my brain and watch. So I'd go with that.
Yeah, I love background TV shows.
Yeah.
Now, last non-lacrosse question is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
I think for me, this is gonna sound horrible. I have a lot, but when people are like walking slow in front of you or just like slow around you,
Riley's not afraid to pass.
I'm not afraid to pass you.
Yeah,
I'll pass you if we're driving, if we're walking in the grocery store. Like,
yeah, Riley's not.
I probably look like I'm on a mission. I'm not. I just can't be around like slow walking people or the people taking their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest one. Yeah, I'll pass you.
Yeah, she will pass. They're like not coming to me. What's some of mine?
When people interrupt you, because I tend to interrupt her a lot, so that's a big pet peeve.
But like, that can't even be a pet peeve because I feel like I do it.
Yeah.
So like,
people chewing loudly. She hates when people chew loudly.
I'm like, it makes me want to rip my hair out. But every time I say a pet peeve, I'm like, oh my God, do I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't do my pet peeve.
Okay.
But I do probably do other things. I'm not perfect.
No. I'm definitely more of a bothersome to some people than I guess like a good presence. So I feel like I gotta work on that a lot. I guess for me, just like traffic, I always deal with it every day, and it just bothers me. So, and like I know I can't avoid it, and I know like there's nothing to do about it. But there's just times where I'm like, where are all these people coming from?
Yeah.
Like one time I was driving, it was 10 a.m. and like we were like, it was slowing down. I'm like, why is everyone out on the road at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? And like, this makes no sense. As I'm saying that, being out on the road at 10 a.m.
You just reminded me of mine. I'm gonna switch it. It's when like there's a long line at a red light. The second it turns green and someone in the way back is honking. I'm like, what is that doing for you or for anybody else? There's so many people ahead of you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the second it turns green, someone in the way back, and it happens in Baltimore all the time. I'm like, I want to look in my rear view and be like, you're all the way back there. Like, even if you've still got a lot of people in front of you.
We probably sound like we have like road rage.
No,
we're great drivers.
I don't have road rage. It's just that.
I don't have road rage too, because I don't want to get like hurt, because I think people sometimes forget about that. Like people are crazy, so don't like overreact to something. Sometimes you just accept it. It's like, yeah, that's my bad. Like that's sort of the way, even if it's not my fault at all. So that's
I'll do a little wave and I'll avoid eye contact. I'm like, don't shout at me.
I would say something I've noticed is every time you make a turn and you're waiting for cars to go by, the last car I feel like always takes the longest to go by before you can go. And I don't know if that's like a mental thing or if that's just something I've noticed recently.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to a couple of cross questions now. I guess one is, what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse? I know I asked you this last time, so I thought I would ask, what would you do to make the tournament better? Whether it's regards to location, staggered start times. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I definitely think, obviously this is like me just saying it. I don't really know logistics behind scheduling or whatever, but definitely wish like maybe game times are, later in the day or something. So it's not in the middle of the day where, people can't watch if they're working or, just making it more accessible to larger crowds, I think would be great. And, the Final Four this year was incredible. The championship game was incredible. So, whatever you could do to just, make it more accessible for fans to go watch, I think would be incredible. But I think kind of another thing now that I'm done playing, like anyone who's graduated or anyone who's, played or loves lacrosse, like, giving back to coaching or, doing whatever you can to just keep interest in lacrosse sparked for younger girls, I think is something that, I'll take on and something I would love to do. So, and then of course what you're doing is awesome. And it's so fun to see you grow your podcast and get so many awesome people to talk to. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I would second that. There's a bee like right there. I think, once you kind of leave the game from playing, keeping it a part of your life and doing what you can to grow the game and continuing to watch. I think our coaches, even though, it was hard to watch the next couple of rounds after we lost, they said, like, it's your job as collegiate athletes to continue watching, to help grow the game and to get, those views. So again, it helps propel the game forward. So I think just continuing to watch now as a fan. I think it'll be hard.
Yeah.
Because I will so desperately want to be on that field and feel that adrenaline of playing and, being obviously with Loyola. I wish I could go back. And like 5 years definitely wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
But I think continuing to watch, not even just Loyola, but to watch as many games as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for me, probably just put it in the same spot because I heard a lot of complaints about North Carolina, and I feel like the men's one was in Philadelphia, and next year they're hosting in the same place for both men's and women's. So I feel like that should just be like a yearly thing, so more people can go and try to watch, and it's in more of an area where people can get to. Because I feel like more people can probably get to Philadelphia than I don't know where it was in North Carolina, but
North Carolina.
so that's what I feel like the big change could happen. I agree with staggered start times as well. I feel like you can watch as many teams as players as possible when you have staggered start times. But when they're all at the same time, you can't really watch all the teams and players you want to watch. So I feel like that would be two things that I think could be easily changed that could help the sport grow even more.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, do you guys have any shout outs you want to give to your family members, teammates, and friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
Yeah, definitely, speaking for the both of us, our family, they're our rock, and we wouldn't be who we are or where we are today without them. So our mom, our dad, our brother, our extended family, they came to all of our games, and from when we were little to our last collegiate game, we wouldn't be who we are without them. And the same goes for our family at Loyola now, like whether it was professors, administrators, staff, our coaches, our teammates, like I'm who I am, Logan's who she is because of Loyola and everyone. And we're just so eternally grateful for Loyola and everything it's given us.
Shout out for who should be on next. I think having Chase or Sid on, especially Sydney, to reflect on her career and then looking into, playing professionally would be so cool. Such a cool perspective. Get the inside scoop. Yeah.
Maybe she could vlog her first week as a pro for the Draw Control podcast or something.
I think Sid, Chase, Lauren Spence again. I think I said her last time, but
we're biased, but any Loyola player would be the best. So
no, I definitely need to reach out to some more players in your team and get their perspective because I feel like that would be a lot of fun. So, but I just want to give you guys a shout out. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and coming on the podcast, not just once, but twice. It really does mean a lot to myself. I'm really going to miss both of you playing. And I wish there was a way you can guys get another year of eligibility so I can watch you guys for one more season. Because you were two of one of my favorite players. And I was super cool seeing you guys play together last year. And I'm one of your biggest fans as well. So I just want to let you know that you're great people, great players, and really going to miss watching you guys play next season. So hopefully you can come back on the podcast and do what I do and analyze what's going on and just
Yeah.
talk about the game. So I feel like that would be a lot of fun.
Well, you're so
Yeah,
awesome,
you're
and I
so
think
awesome.
like what you're doing to grow the game is like so like humbling,
Yeah.
heartwarming, and we just loved, talking to you and
Getting to know you.
following you
Yeah.
and getting to know you. You're awesome, and
Yeah, and then
Thank you.
we'll do an episode for you when you do the Olmstead lacrosse camp.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
the other
see what-
side.
we'll see what you say.
I feel like that's more of like a video, like a YouTube
Yeah.
video than a podcast. So, but no, we definitely gotta try to make that happen. And yeah, I love embarrassing myself in front of the internet. So I feel like that's got to happen at some point.
No, you won't embarrass yourself.
But thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
having
us.